When I was a sophomore in high school, I got a chance to tour a facility of GE Aviation, and that kind of gave me this understanding of what engineers can do, meaning the different career paths that I might be able to take. And I really liked that engineering was very versatile. So even if I start as an engineer, I have a lot of different career paths that I can grow into. And I'm not just set into this sort of like narrow-minded field, which scares me. It kind of stresses me out. I like to learn and I like to do a lot of new things constantly, and so I didn't want to set my life up to be the same thing every single day. I actually started at a different university. That's how I ended up in Louisville, because I'm from Northern Kentucky. And so when I was at this other university, I actually had a friend there who knew about this campus because I didn't know it existed. And Purdue was actually my dream school. I couldn't afford it to begin with. And then when I found out about this campus and how much more affordable it was like a dream come true for me. And so I transferred here my second year as an engineering student, and I've loved it ever since. I would say that faculty have had a pretty good input into the way that I've sort of started learning. So I didn't like the idea of going to a university where it was like a ton of students and I didn't have good access to my professors. Most of the classes that I take here, they're less than 30 students. All of my professors know my name, which gives me this level of accountability that I really like. But it also gives me this opportunity to sort of hear their stories and learn their career paths and then adjust it and kind of understand what I like to do or don't do. We also have quite a few facility tours that are embedded into our classes, and that also gives you the opportunity to, go to these different manufacturing facilities and see the different options that you can take as an engineer. So you could go into design engineering, you can go into manufacturing engineering. I've chosen to head towards quality engineering. I just find it really fascinating, and I love that it's like a problem that I have to solve every single day. For me specifically, obviously I just said I want to do quality engineering, but I also know that I really want to work in the plastics industry. I just think it's very fascinating because it also ties in a lot of material science, which have been my favorite classes here. So I kind of get that best of both worlds type of situation where I can do the two things that I've enjoyed the most while I was here and put them together. My company that I'm currently with, I am an intern. I've been there for 2 years, and I actually got to know my company from them coming in here to do a lunch and learn with the students. So they came in and said, here's our industry, here's what we do. And I was like, that sounds really interesting. I talked to them, I got an interview, and then I got the job, and it was really cool. In terms of the faculty, just because it is such a small class size and they do get to know you very well, I think that really helps for them to want the best for you. Not saying that any faculty anywhere else wouldn't, but they have a more invested interest in their students because they know us. And so the professor that we have here who actually, gets companies in to do these lunch and learns or facility tours or the job fair, he actually asks us, what are your interests? What kind of companies would you want to see here? And he does his best to get those companies to come in. And then in the terms of students and a community that I've developed student-wise, so a lot of the women here have bonded very closely. It's just kind of probably something that's very natural in a male-dominated field. But even in that note, I have a lot of really great friends that I've met through SME, male and female, who we just kind of help each other to grow. I think everybody just sort of has an invested interest. When somebody doesn't understand something in a class, you can almost be guaranteed to be able to go up to either your professor, which is huge for me, or you can go up to another student who's, either maybe they do understand it or they don't understand it, and you can work together to figure out the answer. I would tell young women who are interested in STEM that it's really important to believe in yourself. I think it's very easy to get bogged down into this concept that maybe women can't do the same things that men can do. And I just think that if she really wants it, that she really needs to put her mind to it. Take classes if you can, foster relationships with some teachers who maybe have a background that's more focused in engineering or science or math, and just kind of develop that interest And when you get to college, it's not that everything's going to fall into place, but if you're confident in yourself and you know, like, hey, I can do this, it might take me a little more, or maybe it doesn't take me anymore. As long as you're confident, you're going to be able to do fine. If a student is more technically inclined, say hands-on as opposed to theoretically, this is a great campus for that. It was one of the drivers for why I wanted to come here. The opportunity to get into the lab, to get my hands dirty, to operate these machinery, it's been really phenomenal for me. Almost every class that you take, you're going to have a required lab portion. So you're not just sitting in the classroom, in the lecture for 2 hours and thinking, okay, I just learned something, why did I learn it? They add this hands-on component, so you learn it and then you understand why you learned it. And then the advice that I would have just for anybody in general is to be prepared to change the way that you learn. So you might really sail through high school. I did. And when I came here, I had to change a lot about how I learned and be open to understanding that maybe you don't know the best way and you might need to try something new. It's complicated and interesting is my capstone project. We had a complete design, like ground up, that we had to do for our project, and it's definitely tested me in the sense of, you get through 3 years and then you're in your senior year and you're like, I know what I'm doing, and then you get into capstone and you're thinking, do I know what I'm doing? And you really have a lot of growing still to do, and I know that I still have a lot of growing to do as an engineer. So the most complicated project that I've ever had has been capstone, because it's really challenged me as a design engineer, which is not something that I've particularly focused on because I don't want to go down that career path, but this has given me the opportunity to really develop those skills and to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.